Because I've been doing these more politically charged rants, I've been getting some interesting comments, and I thought I'd also take some time to read them. This one is from the hashtag Muslim ban video. This is by Robert Page. Why do these kind of rants always take a hard right, pardon the pun, into fuck PC culture? Dude, you're fucking whining. If you people spend more time defying PC culture than complaining about it, PC culture wouldn't near as strong and ubiquitous as it is. Hold on, we gotta go back and reread that sentence. That sentence is dog shit. Dude, fuck your whining, alright? If people spend more time defying PC culture than complaining about it, dude, I'm sorry. I don't see how defying PC culture and complaining about it are different. Did you typo? Like, I feel like you had to have. Not to mention, said complaining comes across less as PC culture is ruining free speech and more PC culture won't let me be an asshole consequence free. Dude, I'm sorry. If you think that fucking being an asshole is consequence free with or without PC, you're an idiot. You're a fool. If fuck PC culture is your take, then fuck PC culture and say what you gotta say. Wait. This is really weird. This is what I mean about like the absolute confusion surrounding everything. I can't tell where this guy actually stands on things. And chances are he's working it out himself. Hey, Robert Page, like, hey, keep going. I think you got to sort this out, comment again and maybe we'll figure it out together. Oh man, we got a big long one, by, Tyrone Koji. At least I think that's how you say that. Here's the thing. You claim you want PC culture gone, but your entire election has... Oh, he's not even American. But your entire election has been basically punctuated by bigots being emboldened by a guy who laughs at PC culture. Basically, what you're asking for is more of the fucking same of that. Ignore the idea of being PC, and that's what you get. Incidentally, considering your big objection to the term Islamophobe and your misguided at best claims that it hasn't been made clear Sharia law isn't welcome in your country, while saying the burqa is only for oppression should be wholly banned, while then claiming free speech and ignoring the wishes of those who may disagree, hypocrites still make me hard like fuck. What's next? Baggy pants and hoodies? I'm willing to bet you may have a more personal issue with the term. Some experience. Wait, what the fuck? Man, there's a lot to unpack here, dude. And this is just fucking incomprehensible. But let's see if we could tease something out of here. So the idea of... Ignore the idea of being PC and that's what you get. Meaning, I assume like alt-right kind of shit. No, dude. No. That's not what it is. PC makes it very hard for people to speak the truth as they know it. These words that are put forth in these terms, they're not terms that have meaning. They're neutral. They're neutral by design. And so you can't really have an honest communication about anything using those phrases because they just mask the emotions that are underneath. And I don't believe that you should do that in forum discourse, not in public discourse. Maybe in actual political discourse, or we're actually talking about laws, maybe it's useful then. But let's get real. When we're talking among ourselves, we're not supposed to be talking that way. That's fucking ridiculous. That is literal tone policing. Claims that it hasn't been made clear Sharia law isn't welcome in your country, while saying the burqa is only for oppression should be wholly banned. Okay, look, dude, I'm going to say it again. The whole reason the burqa exists is because the female form in that culture is seen as corruptive. Okay? To look upon the woman is to be impurified. All right? That's the idea. That's why it exists. Cover them up so that you have no sinful desires, because obviously the woman inherently creates sin simply by existing. Hence, we must neutralize her. That's the burqa. Okay? That's the burqa. That's the hijab. That's the whole deal. That is it. And if that's not an oppression, then I have no clue what oppression is supposed to be. While then claiming free speech and ignoring the wishes of those who may disagree. Claiming free speech and ignoring the wishes of those who may disagree. Claiming free speech and ignoring the wishes of those who may disagree. I think you missed that whole point in the video that you're commenting on, where I said, if you have an argument, I'm open ears, that I'll listen. But more importantly than that, the burka is not about free speech. It is about suppressing expression. Those two things are not the same. All right? And yeah, we probably need to have some sort of argument about under what context Islamic people are allowed to enforce the wearing of the burqa. I hate that. But yes, obviously we're going to have to do that. But if we're going to talk about the grander scheme of how our culture as the West is going to fucking operate, then we have to say that this is not acceptable. It's just like how we in the West say being gay is acceptable, but we have to fucking make allowances for Christian churches that don't want to marry gay people. Okay? That's the argument. The burqa is a recent thing. It's always been around, but I gotta love the logic of the anti-PC crowd. All right, so maybe I misspoke. The burqa's been around, but its compulsory wearing is very recent. That goes back to the 80s. That wasn't a big thing in Islamic culture. That was always kind of a throwback to more fundamentalist times. But as fundamentalist Islam rose, it became more and more common practice. But I wanted everyone to realize that this is not an ancient tradition. It's kind of like one nation under God. That's actually very recent. And I don't know about you, but if something's been around for less than 100 years, I don't know if we can consider it ancient. Something I'd like to say to Tarang Kaji is, man, maybe you ought to actually look up the history of the Islamic world during the 20th century. Watch how it changed, see what happened. I think that's gonna fucking answer a lot of your goddamn questions. Politically correct, aka not calling people niggers, fags, kikes, etc., isn't useless. All right, first of all, politically correct is not the same thing as not calling people niggers, fags, kikes, etc., okay? Politically correct to me has always been about going, yeah. See that black guy over there? Oh my God, you said black? He's African American! What? African American? What the fuck does that mean? Not all black people are from Africa, first of all, okay? So that's a problem. What do you call a Creole person? What do you call someone from fucking Jamaica? Okay, that's already fucking bankrupt. Second of all, I just called him black. I don't know a black person that minds being called black. I mean, like I keep saying, if it's good enough for James Brown, it's probably okay. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. If this is your aim to get people to stop calling people niggers, fags, and kikes, maybe you ought to actually aim your guns at people who use those words hatefully. That's the real goal, isn't it? Isn't it? What it needs is to get fucking violent. Well, now this is kind of fucking showing its true colors. Alt-right needs to lose a few members. Maybe if they were treated like they fucking treated certain people back in the day, might shut them the fuck up. All right. Dude. Thank you for exercising your free speech. That's a whole lot of fucking crazy, and I definitely think you need to fucking sort yourself out and sort out your argument, most importantly, because, dude, I don't know if you noticed, but it is getting violent. The alt-right needs to lose a few members. What the fuck are you talking about? You're not okay with using bad language, but you are okay with just killing people for not using correct language. Do you see the problem? I think complaining about politically correct is definitely a fucking fair degree less serious than calling for someone's death for not using politically correct language, okay? But I'm going to say, I don't think that's what your argument actually is. I think your feelings are getting messed up with your logic. What you're saying is fuck Nazis, which, yeah, of course, sure, yeah, fuck Nazis. But you're putting it together with the politically correct argument like this is absolutely the same thing. And so it comes across like if you use words like nigger, fag, and kike, that means that we have the right to kill you. Which, no, you don't. So I think you should take a step back, think about what you're actually saying, and then come back, because I do not think that's what you're actually meaning. I think you're just pissed that there are Nazis in control of shit. Now here we got a really long one from Cat Green, which is going to require a lot of going into, because this is a real unpacking of ideas here. Cat Green says, replying at length because I really like your show. Thank you. I feel like there's a distinction kind of implied in your rant about PC culture, but you're not making the distinction clear, and it's a really important one. Quote-unquote PC culture is characterized by its actions, not its subject matter. It's defined by the way people act, not their vocabulary or their opinions. Allow me to counterpoint. One of the issues with saying that PC culture is characterized by its actions, not its vocabulary or opinions, is that the whole purpose of PC is to change language. I see what you're trying to get at here, judge people by their actions, not what they say. But the thing with PC is that the forceful changing of the language is actually the activity. So it gets really sticky and really messy. So you used a great example, language policing, but there's distinctions to be made there too that people online just don't make. Language policing isn't someone getting on their blog and expressing the feeling when people use their insert a slur or is language, whatever, it makes me feel worthless. That's just an opinion, a personal expression. Language policing occurs when someone reads that subjective expression and thinks this is the rule for being a good person, does not digest the thought or contrary opinions any further, and then goes around the internet informing everyone who behaves differently that they are a repugnant idiot. Well, yeah, that sounds about right. If I'm getting it right, what you're saying here is that language policing isn't a guy on his blog going, I'm fucking so fucking frustrated at this fucking feminism. I don't understand what's fucking going on. If I'm reading this right, in Cat Green's opinion, and definitely in mine, that sort of communication comes under personal expression. And she's saying that the language policing comes in when people come in and tell you that you're being bad for expressing your opinion, or that you're not expressing your opinion in the quote-unquote correct way. That's language policing, and if that's what you're saying, I absolutely agree. You touched on that with unfamiliar terms, too. The people starting the conversation about identity, etc., aren't necessarily the PC police. It's the people using them in a conversation with a clueless audience and reacting with disgust, condescension, when the audience expresses, what the fuck are you talking about? That's not a problem with the terms of the people who use them. It's a problem with the way they're being used by certain people. I would say that's absolutely a problem with the terms. Whether or not it's a problem with the people who use them is up to debate. But I think that the problem actually is the terms. So I slightly disagree there. Though the second half of that sentence I think is very true. It's a problem with the way they're being used by certain people. This distinction applies to face coverings too. Oh boy. I mean, I work in a library with kids and families. A lot of families are Muslim. Many wear head coverings, and I'll defend their right to wear head coverings if that's what they want to do. That's freedom of religious expression, and it's different from defending oppression. I'm assuming that's why you use the word compulsory to describe what you're against. Yeah, that absolutely is why I use the word compulsory. In that sense, there is context for defending head coverings and Amish dress and nuns' habits. We defend the expression of a lot of stuff we find gross and objectionable, but that freedom has to be defended in the same breath that we say, as you did, but this applies to all religions and beliefs equally, and if you're going to live here, you need to accept that. But that freedom has to be defended in the same breath that we say, but this applies to all religions and beliefs equally, and if you're going to live here, you need to accept that. Yeah, that's actually true. Here's my specific problem with the burka and the head covering. As I said before, the whole reason it exists is because the female form is seen as a sinful, corruptive influence just by existing. And that's the key point. Just by existing. The burka and the hijab is not something that one does to show their piety. It is something that every woman is expected to do. The Amish dress is a little bit different because that is what they do internally among themselves. And if that's the way that Muslim people who use that practice want to practice it in America, then we pretty much got no problem. But I think we need to make it very clear that that's what it is. And that we in the West really disagree with the whole reason that that thing exists, much like we disagreed with Christianity about homosexuality. And we have to make sure that a woman who no longer wants to do that is protected by American law. Because unlike taking off the nun habit or unlike taking off Amish dress and doing something like that, taking off the hijab or the burka is a stoning offense in some fucking sects of Islam. Now, if we're talking about Muslims who were already here and had been here, I think that conversation has been made. But if we want to allow refugees in, we've got to make that rule very clear. And we have to make it very clear that they are not allowed to impose their form of morality upon anyone else. So I hope that longer explanation of what I said clears things up for you. She goes on to say, justice is punching a Nazi, someone who believes in the rightness and intends to accomplish the elimination of other human beings. PC is punching someone you're calling a Nazi because they're expressing views you disagree with. A+ on that, yeah. Absolutely. And that's actually a really good idea. Separating actual Nazis from people we're just calling Nazis. Now, that's a great idea. I like that. I like that a lot. Likewise, and I'm not suggesting this is what you're doing, shutting down someone's expression of discomfort with something, let's say rape jokes, because that's always a hot topic, can be language policing too. Hold on, I gotta reread that. Likewise, shutting down someone's expression of discomfort with something, let's say rape jokes, because that's always a hot topic, can be language policing too. Let me see if I'm getting this straight. If what you're saying is, if you're shutting down someone's expression of discomfort with rape jokes, that's language policing. I disagree. That to me is the argument. That to me is the debate. Like that's the verbal fight. Arguing with someone who's all up in your comments isn't language policing. Targeting someone in nasty ways because they publicly express dislike of XYZ can be language policing. And dismissing groups because they use a certain kind of language can lead to dismissing some of the folks who made the original complaint, who are actually suffering from something. People, especially on the internet, use Tumblrinas and feminazis to shut down disagreements on language policing, as with just this paragraph's an absolute mess. This one you're gonna have to clarify because there's a whole bunch of shit happening at once here, and it's impossible to actually tease out. You know, if you're complaining about people using terms like Tumblrina and feminazi to try to shut down a disagreement, I don't know what to do about that. I don't know. I don't think there actually is anything that you can do about that. People will shit talk. You know, some people will shit talk and some people just don't want to listen. And I think we have to accept that. Just the fact that you're ranting against PC culture and use the phrase suppression of women seriously is going to confuse some people. Yeah, I know. And the thing that frustrates me beyond all else is that didn't used to be the case. You used to be able to hold those two separate thoughts in your head and still be considered a liberal. You know, it just meant that you were more focused on the problem than the language. But now, for a lot of people, the language is the problem. So, I don't know. So I don't know if PC culture created the alt-right or if they just can't exist without each other, like the sides of the force. I don't know if anti-PC comedy is a cure either. The disease is ideological purity. Oh, well, see, there's where you've missed the forest for the trees. Anti-PC comedy is the cure. Because comedy explodes and it reveals the hypocrisy for all to see. And if PC culture fuels anti-PC culture, well, you've cut it off at the source. Now they got to use a different argument. They got to go back to square one as well. And you are right. The disease is ideological purity. Cat Green, I think you're heading in a pretty good direction here. I think you need to sort out some of your arguments, but of course, that's probably why you responded, because that's what you're doing. And keep going. You know, because ultimately that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to keep a conversation going and trying to tease reason out of madness. Because right now, everyone is in a state of complete chaos because all the old fucking signposts of order have just fucking collapsed. And no one knows what to do. Leftists don't know if they're leftists anymore. Conservative people are becoming more alt-right, but there are a lot of conservative people who are not really fucking happy with that. You know, they don't want to give away essential freedoms, and they're not actually for fucking killing minorities. But they don't have a lot of room to find a space for themselves where they can actually operate and figure this shit out. Which is why I'm always like, no, there's always got to be room to be neutral, you know, because that's where you figure shit out as opposed to just take sides. And it's why I get so mad with people who are like, you can't be neutral. Fucking watch me. Fucking bastards. You forgot about the essential right of all human beings, which is the essential right to not give a flying fuck. And we need that shit because, like I said, that's where we figure all this crap out. What we got right now are ideologues fighting each other, trying to make each other look as bad as possible, and a huge group of people in the middle ground just trying to figure things out, and the ideologues are not making anything easier. Because these are really, really hard questions already. And the reason I started making these kinds of videos is because of this kind of discussion. Because, holy crap, if fucking Berkeley's not gonna have the discussion, we gotta have it somewhere. Well, I thought I was just gonna make a couple of videos and walk away, but obviously, like, this is gonna go on for a bit. So I'll see you later. Hopefully I'll be able to get back to making the type of content I normally like. I know later on tonight I'll be opening one of these babies. Probably be Satanic Jackula because he's always a good time. So until next time, keep your heads on straight out there, kids.